a Republican on the Foreign Affairs Committee. Thank you so much for talking to us. All right, let's just get right to the point. Is the White House going to get on board with this decision that Congress has just made to remove TikTok apps from all their devices?
Well, they're going to have to, because President Biden is signing the omnibus big ugly into law. So that will be the law of the land, and they have to comply with it. This is just a first step. Remember, there are several states around the nation who have already done this and taken a step to ban TikTok. And this is because they're using all kinds of technology to follow and trace us, biometrics, everything they can see on our phone, and where we search, everything. I mean, I'm sure that Google and other big tech companies also have that power, as we've learned with the interactions between the FBI and Twitter, thanks to Elon Musk's unfolding of that dramatic issue in terms of corruption in our government. But, we've got to follow these things. And I think it's really important that we keep the Chinese Communist Party in check, and prevent them from continuing to do surveillance at the mass rate that they're doing, and influencing not just our children, but our entire society.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's not the first that we've heard that the app has been deemed high risk to users due to a number of security risks. But what about national security risks? I mean, is that something that the government should be worried about?
Well, absolutely. I mean, this is a thing where, once they infiltrate individuals and get into the individuals, it doesn't matter what the government does at that point, because they've gotten into every aspect of our lives. And there's over 100 million users in the United States right now of TikTok. I just don't happen to be one. I've always been very suspect of it, and I also don't have time. It seems a little silly to me, but I know a lot of young people do that, and many of them don't even care. Their parents have said, don't do this. I've heard this over and over. Like, we don't care. The government already looks at everything. But, that may be true, but, much less surveillance would certainly impact us. And it is definitely a national security risk for all of us when each individual has been impacted.
Right. And the security risks that could potentially infiltrate through the government doesn't stop at Congress. I mean, what other places do you believe the app should be banned?
Look, I think it's everywhere, obviously. I mean, look at the states are banning it all together. And I think that was an interesting issue. If all 50 states banned it, you would have the end of TikTok in the United States as we know it. It would turn into an underground mission, of course. And that, of course, once you do that, though, it makes it even more intriguing. So I think this is an issue that we need to analyze in the Energy and Commerce Committee and other committees to make sure that we know what's going on. Obviously, the Intel Committee is going to be looking at this to make sure we have effective means of preventing TikTok from doing surveillance on our individuals. I mean, look, all you have to do is put a little piece of tape or cover up your camera, and that limits, all the governments, maybe the U.S., the Chinese, and the Russian government from looking at your phones. Who knows who's looking at you?
Yeah, and the White House doesn't seem, or hasn't seemed, to take it too seriously. I mean, if you read this press release earlier this month, Senator Marco Rubio said this on his bipartisan legislation to ban TikTok in the U.S. He says the federal government has yet to take a single meaningful action to protect American users from the threat of TikTok. This isn't about creative videos. This isn't about an app that is collecting data on tens of millions of American children and adults every day. The app does have an age range. You're not supposed to be using it after or any younger than the age of 13, but there are plenty out there, minors that are using this and parents that are letting them. So I guess the White House needs to maybe take it a little more seriously.
Look, the White House doesn't take much seriously. Look at our southern border. Look at looking into the origins of the COVID-19 virus coming from China, where millions were killed, where we had shutdowns and we had, lack of ability to really monitor or have smart policies, other than in some states that were able to do this. So the administration is going to be in, hopefully, for some oversight when the Republicans take over the majority. Although it's going to be a narrow majority, Nancy Pelosi was able to brazenly abuse power with a very small majority. I just hope the Republicans will continue to use their constitutional power to enforce our laws, to enforce our Constitution, and to provide oversight. Because that's something we need to do. We need to stick together to do that. And that's essential next year when we take over the majority.
Yeah, it is. Congresswoman Claudia Tenney, thank you for taking the time to talk to us this morning. Thank you.